Hi, so in this video, we'll learn how we can create an Azure pipeline with DigitalOcean Kubernetes service and the Python as an application. So let's first of all go to the DigitalOcean and create a service. So I'll just Kubernetes and click on that. And I already have an account in fact. Uh, so login and go to the Kubernetes, create a Kubernetes cluster and select the region. I will select the Bangalore because I'm in India, and then just node is select to and just give the name. So this will create a Kubernetes cluster. This will take time. So meanwhile, what we'll do, we will create a Docker Hub registry, because what is our flow is that we will create an Azure pipeline and then push into the Docker Hub our image using the Docker file, and then we will deploy within the Azure pipeline. We will write a task which will deploy the image into the DigitalOcean Kubernetes. So we have across platforms. So let's go to the Docker Hub and create a repository. So I'll give the name as Python 02. Any name you can give, because I have a sequence. I have already created Python 01 and all. So now I'll go with Python 02. So let's create it. So repository has been created. Now go to the Azure DevOps and create a new project. I'll give the name as Python 02. Okay, so now go to the pipe, open the PyCharm and create a new project. I'll select new project and go with the default. I'll just give the name as Python 02 and go with the default. Select on a new Windows and I'll put into a separate one. So now we have a main py. We will create a Flask web application. So this is a basic simple code, nothing but simple hello endpoint, and we'll reply hello world from Azure CI Cd pipeline. And our application will run on a 80 port. Okay. So now we required some of the libraries. So like I will go with requirement.txt and I will import a Flask 2.2.3. And then we will also add the chart folder. Chart folder is nothing but a Helm template folder which has a template, deployment template, a service template which has a placeholder and which will be replaced by the values file. So here we will use 02 because we are using the 02 image. Okay, so rest of the things will be okay. Load, we have a load balancer, and in the deployment also we have a load balance container port which will point to the target port, that is a Python 1 application. Okay, so first of all let's run the local. So first of all we'll have to go to the terminal and we will install the Flask and all, or in case of the project we can go to the settings and go to the project interpreter, and here we can use Flask. click over there and click on the install package. So this will install. Okay, so now let's try to run the main. Okay, so now click on here and we have one endpoint that is hello and it's working. So locally it is working. So now if you want to push to the Docker hub with a Docker image, then we need a Docker file. So I'll just paste the Docker file. Okay, so this is my simple Docker file, which is nothing but it will just do the basic from a base image Python 3. It create a work directory, copy it necessary folders, and run the requirement.txt and expose the port 80 and will entry point as a main.py and requirement we have a 2.2.3. So that looks pretty okay. And now we can go to the terminal, and before that we have to sync our repository with the repository that we have created. So click on the repo and just click this portion, and inside the terminal, just first of all, before we go with syncing, we'll have to initialize the repository. So git init add. Now git add all, so all files should be added. Git commit, and yes, it is our first commit. So I'll do that and save it, and then git push. Just copy this portion. It give you a suggestion. So yes, it has pushed into our repo. So let's check it. Click on the repo and we'll get all the files. Okay. So now we will create a Azure pipeline. Very simple. Click on the grid and just click anything, because we will just change everything, because we are interested more in the some of the task. So I'll remove this portion. I'll also auto trigger, rather than I will do is none, because I want to manually trigger the pool, the VM Ubuntu latest, because we are deploying it to the Linux containers. So we will have a two task. One is Docker task and another is deployment task, CI task and the CD task. So what I will do is copy from my previous project and I'll use it. Here instead of the Linode, I am currently using the Digital Ocean. So we'll take, and this should be a Python 02 and this should be a Python 02. Okay. So now let me save it, but I will not run any pipeline. Okay. So now before that, if you go to the pipeline, then we are using the two connections, a Docker 1 connection for connecting to get the credential, or maybe creating the service connection from Azure to Docker. We require Docker connection, and from Azure pipeline to deploy on the DigitalOcean Kubernetes service, we require a DigitalOcean connection. So both of these are the service connections. So go to the project settings, click on the service connection, create service connection. First connection would be the Docker registry. So click on the next and click on the Docker and your ID and your password. Verify it. Verification failed. So first of all, maybe some password. I'll have to type it again. Okay, so verification section. So there was a typo in the password. Grant access. and name it to Docker connection. Verify and save. Okay, so another connection we will create a DigitalOcean connection. So it will be a Kubernetes and we'll use a kubeconfig. Okay, so where we can get the kubeconfig? So if we go to the DigitalOcean, download the kubeconfig and show to the folder, copy it and put into the kube one. And here you just paste it and just remove this previous one and rename it to config and just open it, copy all the portion and go to the our service connection and paste over here and just verify. Verification got success. So now what we'll do, digital connection, we'll give this name and use the same name in our pipeline. Okay, now go to the pipeline and if you can see we have that collection. Okay, so looks pretty good to me. Let's double verify. All looks good. We have a chart folder and also let's check the chart folder value as well. Yes, Python 02 and everything is Python 02. Okay, so now one more thing, because uh, in the DigitalOcean cluster, creating a cluster may be a little issue, so we will use rather than load balancing, we are using uh, the cluster IP, otherwise our pipeline will get failed. So yes, this is an issue that I'll address later on, will update, but at least I want it to be deployed into the Kubernetes, so I'll just change it to cluster IP. So we'll not use a load balancer, we'll just check on a container side. Okay, so looks good and I will run the pipeline. Hopefully everything should be okay. If I go to the command line and helm list, nothing is there. So still yet not started. So let's wait for some time. Okay, it started. And it may take a couple of minutes or maybe a 5 minutes. I'll pause the video for time. So our pipeline got successful. So we'll go to the ham list and check ham list, kubectl get pods and kubectl get svc and kubectl get deploy. Okay, so for the sake of the things, we can check the logs of pod. So it's running fine, absolutely. Okay, so if you want to test application, we'll have to go to the Python pod. What can we do? exec it and bash. The curl is not there, so we'll have to update and install the curl. So curl and use this curl to run the application and endpoint is hello. Now we get the answer. This is hello world from Azure CI Cd pipeline. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.